Welcome back to the ElvinCast, the podcast of the School Council for Ark Academy. I hope you enjoy our school song as much as I do. Ark Schools have given out more than 21,000 Chromebook devices in the last year. By the end of this academic year, all pupils in Year 3 and above at Ark Schools will receive a device. In this episode, we speak to Lauren Thorpe, Ark's Director of Strategy, who is in charge of this process. And please remember, if you want someone to be on the show, email us on elvincast@arkelvinacademy.org.
Now, the majority of students at Ark Academy don't know you. Could you please tell us a bit about yourself and your role in Ark Schools?
Hi, yes, of course. Morning, Ali, and listeners. I've worked at Ark Schools for nearly 4 years. Before that, I was a principal of a secondary school. And before that, I've been an IT and computing teacher. My degree is in computer science. So I'm really passionate and excited about the opportunities that we have to use technology across all of Ark Schools.
Oh, wow. Next question is, what inspired you or what drove you to have chosen your career as Director of Strategy at Ark? Tell us about your journey.
So I like solving problems, Ali. So I think that I've discovered in my career that this is the thing that I enjoy doing the most. And I think that that goes back to studying computer science at university. And computing was always my favourite subject at school as well, and sort of writing programs and designing solutions to new things. And so solving problems and coming up with new ways to do things is what I'm really passionate about. And I'm really privileged to be able to do that working within Ark Schools. So if we take lockdown and the period that we've just been through with coronavirus as an example, last summer we had the challenge of what do we do around ensuring that we can provide education and learning to all of our pupils. And I was part of the team of people that were able to work out what we might do with workbooks. What should we do about getting new devices? We built Ark Spark to solve a problem of trying to get more learning opportunities to our students. So it all comes down to wanting to fix things and solve problems.
Yeah. In your blog on the digital opportunities for Ark students, you spoke about students having equal opportunities. Can you please elaborate on this point?
Yeah, so I think that one of the things that is most important in our society is to try and ensure that there's equal opportunities for all. And so, if you think at home of the things that, most people would have. So, most people have got running water, most people have got electricity, most people have got heating. Actually, I think that we believe, and I believe that having access to the internet, access to the world through a device and through technology is just as important because of the things, the opportunities that opens up and affords to everybody. So everybody gets the opportunity to go to school, everybody gets the opportunity to study and pursue their interests. But actually, I think that having the technology and the equipment to support you to do that is really, really important, and having that level playing field is key.
Wow. Well, that answers the next question. So what is your principal aim for students having a laptop from school?
Well, it sort of, I guess, partly answers it, doesn't it, Ali? So, yeah I think it's absolutely a brilliant opportunity for us to make sure that all of our pupils can have a device to access their learning online. But I think what would be really exciting is that not only can you use your devices to catch up, or to, if you've missed something or you didn't quite understand something that a teacher said, to be able to go and use your device and go online to find the answer to that question, whether it be because your teacher put some of your lesson activities on the internet, or because you went to YouTube and saw somebody, a professor at a university solving that question, or whether it be because we put some links on Spark to Hegarty Maths or some other activities that you could do. I mean, that's a really important part of it. But what I think would be really amazing is if we start to use our Chromebooks and the internet and Spark to really expand our opportunities. So to watch theatre performances that we wouldn't have any opportunity to see ourselves, to go and visit places around the world virtually, to help us to get a better insight into the topics that we're studying, to visit universities, to have conversations like this one, Ali. that, you know, there are loads of exciting people in the world that we'd love to be able to provide the opportunity for Ark students to talk to through programs like Speakers for Schools. So I think for me, that's the really exciting part. We can use our Chromebooks to sort of break down barriers and open opportunities for everybody to explore and expand their knowledge.
Oh wow. As director of strategy, you make big decisions such as giving students in Ark a laptop. However, what kind of work would you do every day?
That's a really good question. So I'm really lucky that my days are all different, and I've got lots of different things that I'd be working on at different times, and I love that. The variety in my job is something that I'm really pleased to be able to have, and I think it's something that I'd ask young people to think about when they're thinking about what careers they'd like. Well, how do they want to spend their days? So normal times I'd be in an office. This background that I have today is a dummy one, but the currently working from home because it's a little bit more difficult to get into the office. But my days would be a combination of having meetings with different people working on different projects. So at the moment, obviously, we've got the project to ensure that all our pupils have a Chromebook, but I've got other projects that I'm working on around how to look at some of our other systems that we use across Ark and whether or not we can upgrade and change some of those. I lead on our data function, so data is a really important and exciting actually area in all organizations at the moment. You'll know that, you know, there is data everywhere now, and systems are collecting data about us all the time, and we're looking at how we might be able to use data differently across Ark Schools, which is quite exciting. But it's a sort of combination of meetings, combination of thinking, reading, research, looking at what other schools around the world are doing, and trying to look at how we can incorporate some of that thinking into our work in Ark.
Oh wow. What do you find hardest about your job?
I think the hardest thing is probably also the most satisfying thing, which is when you can see that there are lots of people doing lots of different bits of work, and part of your role is to try and bring all of that together. And you'll know if you're doing group work or anything like that, it's sometimes hard when everybody's got different ideas and people want to work on projects and work on things slightly different ways. And you have to work with everybody to come to a shared position, an agreement around how you're going to move forward. And that's obviously challenging because you've got to hear everybody's ideas and you've got to discuss and perhaps make compromises, but also super satisfying because the end result is usually better when you've worked to make sure that you all agree first.
Wow. I think you answered this question before. How many years have you worked with Ark? And can you tell us your experience with this?
Yeah, so I've worked at Ark for 4 years. And so I joined in a role where I was looking after our data and looking after, we've got a tool that we use that stores all of our student data and all of our staff data and all of the information about how the schools work. And I was helping to leading the team that was shaping our data infrastructure. And then I've slowly sort of expanded my role into different areas. So, and the most exciting thing and the opportunity to work on our digital strategy and support all of our learners to get online and to be able to access their learning during the coronavirus is probably the work that I've been most proud of.
Well, that's interesting. What kind of books are you into and why?
What kind of books?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a rule, Ali, that I alternate between fiction and non-fiction books.
Oh.
So I read one that's sort of, often I read stories, a sort of dystopian future stories. So I like the sort of semi-realistic, semi-fantasy type
like 1984.
stories. Like 1984, exactly. That's one of my favourites. But when I've read a book like that, I feel I should read something about a topic that I don't know. And so I'll read a history book, or I'll read, I read quite a lot of books about education, so or politicians. So I sort of alternate between the two, so that I feel like I'm reading for pleasure, but also reading to learn new things.
Yeah, wow. At Ark Elvin, we have 4 values: mastery, community, courage, and integrity. Now, we are curious to know which one of our 4 values would be most important to you.
Sorry, can you repeat them, Ali?
So it was mastery, community, courage, and integrity.
I mean, they're all such important values, but I think that I would go for integrity. I think that's the one that resonates most with me. And community, I think, would be close in second place. But I think the ability to act with integrity and the knowledge that others around you are acting with integrity is a really important aspect of life, and that ability to trust others and the ability to have belief and faith in others' actions comes from having that confidence around the integrity of yourself and the others that you surround yourselves with. So I think that one's probably resonates the most with me.
Next question is, what do you think is most important in schools apart from education?
Fun.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I think it's really important that you want to go to school, and that school's a place that you can enjoy time with your friends and enjoy the downtime that you have when you're not in your lessons, and the extracurricular activities that you do that are your passions and the areas that you're most excited about. So yeah, I think there should be some fun.
Next question is, what is the most important subject to you in school?
Maths. So I think that maths is a super important subject. And actually, I struggled at times with maths when I was at school. But it's a subject that has been the sort of foundation for me. And when you think about maths, a lot of what you're doing is actually associated with logic, and that's something that I think is a really important skill as well, to be able to think logically, to be able to work through. As I said, I love problem solving, so maths is essentially that, but working through problems in a logical, sensible way and being able to make decisions and come to answers and solutions, I think is a good skill for everybody to have.
Final question is, what is something that you're proud of in your life or in your job?
So in my life, I think I'm proud of taking things on, I suppose, that I don't know whether or not I can do them, but having a go anyway. So as an example, when I became a school principal, I'd never done that job before, and I was really unsure whether or not I could do it. It's a really, big job and a really tough job and a lot of responsibility. But I wanted to do it anyway, and I'm really pleased that I had the confidence and bravery to do that. And I think I've got another couple of examples of that. So I spent some time teaching abroad in Hong Kong, and it was a very similar thing. I didn't know whether I wanted to go. Should I go and travel halfway around the world on my own to go and be a teacher somewhere else? But I did it, and it was brilliant. And I would have been disappointed with myself to have missed that opportunity. But personal challenges as well. I ran a marathon. I'd never done any long distance running before, but decided I was going to do it and put the effort in and did the training. So I think that pushing myself outside of my comfort zone and making brave decisions around what to do with my time, my career, my friends and family, I think is something that I'm most proud of.
Well, this has been interesting to hear all these things about you. Thank you for being here with us today. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Goodbye.
Thank you, Ali. It's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you too. Have a lovely day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
I hope you enjoyed that. I'll see you in our next edition. Here's our school song again. Bye-bye.
We do the right thing, even when no one's watching. We all know right from wrong, know what it takes to be strong. We all have courage, never give up. Our school will only flourish, going up and up. And when things are hard, we know what to say. We will face it head on, that's the Elvin way. Magna, Aude, Magna, Aude, Magna, Aude. The future is ours, it's written in stars. Oh, Magna, Aude, Magna, Aude, Magna, Aude. We die for greatness every day. Purple's our color, and we wear it with pride. Ties to the color, we got it right. Knowledge is power, we strive for the best. We're building futures, and we know we can grow, we can beat the rest. And when things are hard,